I think that trusting no one is essentially the absolute first rule of security. You just have to use basic common sense, because common sense is really the way that we've run our lives for thousands of years, and technology isn't really making that much difference.
Trusting no one doesn't mean I'm going to block everything, but it says that it's a higher level of security than you would have if you take somebody on face value.
If you go with a no trust, then the world doesn't work. You have to build those trust models up. If you went with no trust in, then you're just fighting the battle on your own.
Trust no one as the first rule of security. I'd argue no. We have to trust our employees. We have to trust organisations we work with.
Organisations will be trusted by both business partners and their customers that they deal with on a day-to-day basis, whether it's B2B or B2C, through exposure, i.e. unveiling how they set their security policy in place.
Organisations prove they can be trusted by their business partners and the public by having very clear policies, procedures, clearly audited security policy, the ability that you can go in and view how those organisations are working.
What you're looking for is a minimum security level for everybody to maintain, because then you know where everyone's on the same baseline. If somebody can exceed that, then that's great. But obviously that comes in as a cost to the business, and the business has to work out what its risk appetite is.
Essentially the way that you can prove that you can be trusted is by not having done anything wrong. So not actually having a breach is a pretty good way of actually starting to prove that you can be trusted. The other ways to prove that you can be trusted is to actually show that you've thought about what you're doing in terms of security and taken steps that you then communicate both to your workforce and to the people who are your customers and those people who are using your services. If you don't do that, and you don't show that security is quite important to your organisation, then they're not going to actually show it to those people that they're working with.
You trusted somebody to do the job. Do you become a big brother and watch them all the time? Most companies can't afford to do that unless it's something highly, highly critical. I think organisations are very they're not trust adverse, but they are very aware of what's going on, and so we just need to kind of work that model into place.
I think the easiest way to answer it is, yeah, of course you want to trust your employees, you want to trust the people that you work with, but you should just take some due diligence over the entire process.
Organisations and trusting employees, it's one of those critical areas for every business. If you can't trust your employees, how are you going to do business? These are the people who take your messages to your market, so it's about making sure that your employees know what is expected of them.
I think we should trust the employees, but we should ensure that trusting employees is a merging of the Chief Information Security Officer, the Chief HR Officer, the Chief Technology Officer, all of the different disciplines that now live in those businesses, to make sure they fully understand together what they need to protect the employee whilst trusting them as well at the same time.
Yes, there will be threats that you're not aware of, but dealing with them quickly and having people on side to deal with them is the best way.
A colleague once said he doesn't have a problem if somebody does something technically brilliant because they're better than us, so we can live with that. If they can do something because we're stupid, that's another thing altogether. So it's making sure you've got your bar set high enough.
There are always going to be changing and evolving threats. It's the nature of the world, and it always has been. From the moment you built a wall, somebody worked out how to jump over it. If your value, or the value of your organisation, is in your data, then you protect your data and you think about what the value is in what somebody is after, and you have to be aware of that. If you're aware of that, then you're relatively, probably safe.
These guys are smart. This is a business. It's not, again, a business just for financial. It's also, to damage other people's reputation or to put them under ransom. Unfortunately for a lot, it's an insurance policy that hopefully they'll never have to claim on. But understand this today, if you've not been hit yet and somebody thinks you've got value, you will be targeted.